Hello, hello. I want to ask you a question. If you were really waiting to feel ready, I want to let you know that this one is for you. All right. If you've been shrinking yourself because you're not sure that you even have what it takes, this one's for you too. All right. So today, I want to help you to reframe what it feels like or what it even looks like to lead, especially when you feel that you're underqualified, when you feel so unsure, or you just feel like you need to be more of something. Okay. With that said, hey, hello, and welcome back to Quiet Authority Conversations. My name is Natasha, and I am your host as well as Quiet Leadership Strategist, and I am the founder of the House of Quiet Impact. If you've been here before, let me tell you, I am so glad that you're back. Welcome back. If this is your first time, again, welcome to this space. Here is a space where we talk about real leadership without all of that noise. Yeah, we're not about the noise over here. Now, before we begin, I just want to take a second to ask you to make sure that you like this video and that you subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, that you share this video because that really helps us out over here. We want to make sure that as many people that need to hear this message get it gets in their hands. All right. Also, your support really does help us reach a lot more leaders who are just done with trying to lead loud in order just to be seen. All right. So if you could do that, I really appreciate it. Now, let me be real with you today. I am not here to tell you to become someone that you're not. I am not here to tell you to be louder. Quite frankly, I am not here to tell you to be more of an extrovert or to be more polished just to be successful. Okay. You don't need to become an entirely new person. I know it's January, new me, new year. No, I'm not here for that. Okay. But you do need to release that belief that your fear or that hesitation means that you're not qualified. Okay. I'll tell you, there are a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders right now, today, Thursday, that are right now growing teams. They are feeling a lot of pressure and a lot of major goals. But that makes them even question themselves a lot more. Okay. They know that they need to be more vocal for advocating for themselves and quite frankly, their vision. However, that's this one word that's holding them hostage, and that word is fear. Okay. Today, that's what we're digging into. I know you're probably like, why? Because I've lived it. That's why we're digging into it. So, firsthand, I know that it's real. I know that that fear is real, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, let's name what's real. You might be showing up online, right? You might be posting content. You might be building a brand or just trying your best to stay consistent, right? Because consistency is key. But there are some days that it feels like you're talking to a wall, okay? And you're doing what you're supposed to do, right? And I put the supposed to because that's what they say. Um, but it feels like there's nobody that even sees you. Okay. So then what happens? You start questioning everything. Everything. You even question, why am I even here? You have those questions of like, do I even have enough experience? Do I even sound like I know what I'm talking about? Am I just pretending to be a leader? You know, like, is this Halloween? Am I just pretending to be somebody that I'm not? You just start those questions and they're nonstop. Okay. But here's the dangerous part. When you start to believe those thoughts, you know what happens. Because I've said it before. You shrink. And then you stop emailing people on your email list. Then you don't speak up in rooms where you really do know that you have expertise, but you don't say anything. Or you delay launching the thing. right? Whatever it is that you want to launch, you delay it. And then you sit on the ideas for weeks, sometimes even months. But it's not because you're lazy, right? You're not lazy. But what it is because that fear is much louder than your voice. Let me tell you, I've been there. All right. I've been there before. So I see you. I see you. And I want to help you move forward anyway. Okay. Because I'm telling you it's possible. Today, I want to walk you through three realizations. These are not just tips or concepts, but these are moments that shifted how I see my own leadership. Okay. Because the truth is, we don't need more strategies to just sound like somebody else, right? We don't need that. What we need is more courage to trust who we already are. That's what we need. We need more courage to trust who we already are. And that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to land. So let's start with this first realization. Realization number one: confidence grows in doing, not in the waiting. And I will keep nailing on this one because I used to think that I needed to feel ready before I started anything. Okay. I had to feel ready before I launched anything, before I taught something. Okay. Before I said yes to doing something that felt so big. Okay. But what I've learned is that clarity and confidence are actually rewards, not prerequisites. They come after you move, not before. All right. They come before you move. I mean, they come after you move, not before you move. So think about learning how to ride a bike, right? I want to use this analogy. Think about when you learn how to ride a bike. You didn't wait until you felt confident. You just got on. You might have wobbled, probably even fell a couple times because I know I did. But guess what? You kept trying. And eventually, your balance caught up with your bravery. Okay. Your balance caught up with your bravery. That's how leadership works, right? And I want to share with you a real story from my life that I went through. Yep, it's story time. Okay. So back when I worked in HR, there was this district director that asked me to build and deliver. It was a 3-day leadership development training for all of their supervisors. Okay. And let me tell you, I was terrified. Let me say that again. I was very terrified. um, with that responsibility, I had to build a curriculum, I had to speak for several days, and I had to keep it engaging. And I remember thinking to myself, why would anyone want to listen to me? Let alone, why would anybody want to listen to me for several days in a row? Right. Then I remember asking myself, am I worth anybody even listening to? But I had to release those thoughts and I just had to rise to the occasion, scared and all. Okay. Um, there was someone that I felt needed to hear what I had to offer. And it was my responsibility to show up. Now, fast forward, I delivered the training. I went on ahead and did it. And guess what? I had so much fun doing it. I really did. And the feedback, it was some of the best feedback that I ever received. Okay. But it all started from that one decision that I had to do it anyway. That decision opened up so many doors. And every time that I showed up, I got stronger. Now, were the nerves gone? Nope, absolutely not. Those nerves were not gone. But I trusted myself more to show up. I believed in myself more to show up. And I started to belong in rooms that I used to feel like I was unqualified for. And I'm being honest with that. I felt like I was unqualified to be in those rooms. So for you, what that could look like, feeling unqualified, it could look like, that one piece of content that you just have been avoiding posting, the one that's sitting in your drafts, like today is sitting in your drafts. There's somebody that needs it, right? Even if it only gets 17 views, even if it only gets 5 views, guess what? Those 17 people are still people. Those 5 people are still people. Or how about that podcast? The interview that you said yes to, even though you felt awkward, yeah, you made someone rethink something that was important by taking that interview. Okay. Or what about that coaching session where you felt underqualified? You helped someone get clarity that they didn't have before they met you. And guess what? That mattered. Okay. Or what about that small workshop that you hosted that only had 4 people in the Zoom? Yeah, four. One, two, three, four. Okay. They showed up and you showed up and someone left changed. So you see, that's how confidence builds, one act of courage at a time. Confidence isn't a feeling that you wait for. It's a muscle. It's a muscle that you build through action. Okay. So you pick up that confidence along the way, but you still move. And that brings us to realization number 2. Okay. Realization number 2, sometimes people see your potential before you actually do. Yeah. That's one a lot of people don't talk about. So back to that example that I told you about, that same district director. Yeah. He saw something in me that I could not even see in myself at that moment, of course. At that time, he believed that I could lead at a level that I hadn't even imagined for myself yet. And if I'm being honest, very transparent, I hadn't seen it because I was scared. I was scared of what it would mean to be seen as more, right? I was scared of stepping into more responsibility. I was scared of being more responsible, right? I was scared that I would fail, right? But in looking back at that moment was defining for me. If I had to, if I told myself back then that one day, meaning this day, that I would host a podcast and I would show up on a video week after week, I would have laughed so hard, very hard. And I would respond, absolutely not, never. Okay. And yet, here I am. Here I am. You see, that moment and many others like it forced me to have to confront a version of myself that I was avoiding. Yep, I was avoiding. It forced me to move into a version that was capable, a version that was prepared, ready, even when I didn't feel like I was. So think about this for yourself. It may look like you having a client or a colleague that wants to invite you to lead something, and your first instinct was to say no. They ask you, oh no, and you create something that you have going on, but you don't. It's not because you weren't qualified, but you didn't do it, or you saying no because you were afraid to own that you were qualified. Yeah. You were afraid to own that you were qualified. Or maybe someone recommended you for a speaking opportunity. And instead of celebrating it, you panicked. You panicked. Or maybe your mentor told you that it's time to raise your prices. Whatever it is that you're offering, it's time. It's time to raise your prices. And what do? You froze. And it wasn't because it didn't make sense, but it was because deep down, you're still learning to see your own worth. And yet, when you said yes to the opportunity, guess what it did? It stretched you. It grew you. It introduced you to a version of yourself that you didn't even know was possible. Okay. That's the beauty in all of this. You get to discover new versions of yourself that you didn't know existed because you stretched yourself. Think about this. Sometimes your next level shows up disguised as a stretch that scares you. That's your next level. That stretch that scares you, that's your next level. Yep. That's where you're supposed to be. Crazy, right? You see, you don't always get the full version before you start. But if you say yes to the stretch, you get access to the next version of yourself. Okay. Say yes to the stretch, excuse me. So saying yes is your ticket to the next version of yourself, the better version of yourself. That brings us to our last realization, number 3. Fear will always be in the room, but it does not get the chance to lead. Fear will always be there, but it doesn't get to lead. Let me tell you, the fear still shows up today. Every time I go live, every time I speak, every time I say something that matters, I still feel it. But guess what? I don't let it stop me. Why? Because I've learned that fear does not disqualify you. Okay. It just means that you're doing something that matters. You're human. Okay. Now, that real problem that you need to look at, silence. Yeah. Why? Silence is what steals the opportunity. Now, I've had people message me after watching a video and they said things like, I needed this. I've had strangers thank me for saying what they didn't know how to say, right? It makes a difference. Every single time I remember saying to myself, after I heard those messages from them, I remember saying to myself, I almost didn't speak. I almost didn't do it. I almost stayed quiet, but I didn't. For you, it could look like you didn't apply for that panel discussion because you didn't think that you had anything new to say. Okay. But what happened? You watched someone else say the exact thing that you were going to say. Yeah. Or how about you skipped posting for a few weeks because your last post didn't perform well. It didn't perform the way you wanted it to perform. So you just stopped posting for a few weeks. But that post that you did put up, it was saved quietly by someone who needed it. You've been holding off on sharing your offer because you're unsure how it'll land, right? So that fear of how is it going to be received? How's it going to land is keeping you back. Meanwhile, there is someone out there that's struggling with the exact problem that you solve. Yeah. You see, those moments of silence, they don't just delay results, they delay impact as well. Okay. And they keep the people who need your voice from ever finding it. They need that voice. They need it. And you need to be the executor of such voice. Fear will visit, but silence will cost you everything. Fear will visit, but silence will cost you everything. You don't have to wait until you feel fearless, okay? Because if that's the case, you'll be waiting forever. You just have to decide that fear does not get to set the schedule. They're not running things, okay? Now, take a deep breath. That was a lot. Let's make this personal. Where are you holding back? I've shared where I may have been, I've had some things where I held back, but where are you holding back? Where have you been waiting to feel more confident, more prepared, right? More, I'll say, ready, right? Or is it a story that you've been meaning to share? Is there an offer that you've been avoiding to launch? Is there a conversation that you need to have? Or here's one, maybe just a post that you've been scared to write. The thoughts are there, but you're too scared to write it. I want you to take one small step this week, just one, not a perfect one, just a step, just one that moves you forward. Okay. because your voice is powerful. Your voice is powerful. Even if it shakes, your voice is powerful. Okay. Think about this. Your quiet voice doesn't have to be loud to be life changing. Your quiet voice does not have to be loud to be life changing. Yes, you already have what it takes: your presence, your insight, your care. It all matters. And your consistency is sending a message. Even if you don't see the echo yet, your consistency is sending a message. Okay. Now, that's what I have for you with our conversation today. I try to keep it short. This conversation was real, right? And if it landed for you, I'd love to hear from you. Okay. I want you to go ahead, drop a comment. Tell me what resonated the most for you. And as a reminder, whether you're new or you're revisiting, I go live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this conversation with a friend, family member, anyone you know, colleague that needs to hear the message. And most of all, keep showing up. Okay. Why? Because the world does not need louder leaders. No, have tons of them. It needs truer ones. Okay. Now remember, the quiet ones move the room. So let your quiet speak loud. Until next time. Bye.